What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Deep Ruts podcast. My name is Brandon, and I'm your host. Today I have with me Doug Barnett.
What's happening?
Doug is here with us to talk a little bit about his adventure into the off-road community, how he got into Dotore, and a little bit about him as a person. So we're going to kind of go through all of that and talk with you. But Doug, let's start out by hearing a little bit about how you got into Dotore. Do you remember how that happened?
Let's see. I decided to go out and get a new truck. Got the taco, and then just got on Facebook and just typed in Ohio Tacomas and Toyotas, man. Found you.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I remember in the early days, like Jeff, I know, was in Ohio Tacomas. There were a couple other people. And having got the Tundra, I saw that page, but I didn't try to join or anything because obviously Tacoma is different than Ohio Tacomas. But that's pretty cool. Do you remember the first event you came out to for Dotore?
I don't think it was really like an event. We just decided to meet up at Haspin's in the wintertime. And
okay. Oh, yeah,
that's how
yeah.
it all started.
yeah. That was a fun trip.
Yeah, had a little Waldo out.
Yeah, I do remember that too. Yeah, that was awesome. Like a lot of people, Haspin was our first encounter, at least for the people that we've had on thus far. So Doug is part of our trail team, and he helps out a lot on rides, whether it's leading those rides or being a tail gunner, helping out when things get broken or go astray. He's always been there to kind of help out under those situations. So Doug, thank you for that. But a little thing that we do here on the podcast, on our show, is we have a little bit of whiskey while we go through this and kind of sit here and talk and chill. I say this every episode, but I don't advocate for like drinking on the trails. We're not out there getting trashed or anything while we're off-roading. But once we get back to camp and stuff, it is nice to kind of unwind and have a drink and just hang out around the fire and stuff. So, yeah, Doug's not a big drinker, and normally we will do whiskey straight and stuff, but today we opted for a mixed drink, but we were just kind of doing a whiskey and cola here. But the whiskey that we're using is the Weller Special Reserve, lower proof and a little bit sweeter there too. So, Doug, thank you again for coming on the show, and cheers to you, man.
Cheers.
Yep.
It's definitely sweet.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Whiskey and Coke is the tried and true for me. This is like what I kind of started drinking on, so.
Same with me. Like you said, I'm not a real big drinker. I drink occasionally every now and then.
Yeah.
That's about it. Try to be sober, so if someone calls me, if I had to go out in the middle of nowhere to get them or rescue them, I'm there.
I'll be ready for it. Yeah, so Doug, like we were talking about, you've been involved in a lot of our Dotore rides, our Dotore events, and helping out with our raffles and all that kind of stuff. We're going to get a little into your favorite Dotore memories and what you want to see out of all that. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about your life and kind of growing up and things like that. So, roughly, how old are you?
I'm 40 now.
Okay, big 40,
yeah.
Man, that's awesome. So, nice. You feeling pretty good about that? Feeling good for 40?
I'm just wising up.
Yeah?
Leveling up.
That's awesome, dude. It's crazy. I'm starting to notice a lot of things as I'm getting a little bit older. This morning, actually, I was sitting there and I was like, man, it is literally almost March already. And I've done this so many times that, a lot of times you'll say that, but you don't actually focus or realize how fast time is going by. But this morning I was like, man, that's seriously is like pretty crazy. Like I remember it was just like, I had to go get my teeth cleaned today. Mm-hmm. And I was like, has it really been that long already? And I was like, oh, man, time is really just flying by. So, let's talk a little bit. Are you only kid? You got siblings?
Yeah, older sister. She's 13 years older than me.
Okay.
That was kind of the mistake.
Yeah.
That's all good though.
Okay, cool. Where are you from? Are you from Ohio?
Yep, Ohio, Cincinnati.
Okay, cool. Where are you at in Cincinnati?
St. Bernard.
Okay, yeah. They got all the actual St. Bernard structures around.
Yep.
You seen all the statues and
Yep.
stuff, right?
Yeah, I got the big dogs everywhere.
Yeah, I got a guy that actually works with me. Lives down there too, so he's in the St. Bernard area. But awesome. So growing up, I mean, you grew up and the middle '80s kind of was that time frame. So what was some of the big stuff from your childhood? Some of like the hot commodity items, the stuff that you remember?
Oh man, good old Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles. Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I still watch both of those.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm a kid. Were you really into both of those too?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had the PJs, and I wore the PJs once a week to school every now and then.
Yeah. Heck
Me and
yeah.
my one buddy.
That's what's up, man. What did you do a lot as a kid as you kind of like started like growing up? Anywhere from like elementary through middle school and like that kind of stuff. What were you doing?
The younger age, like I said, Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters, and then video games came along, and kind of just video games here and there. And then once I got about 12, it started being BMX bikes and RC cars, and just being a child, and being out in the woods.
What when we talk about like riding BMX bikes and stuff, BMX was huge at that point. Like, what kind of bike were we riding back then?
First bike I had was a Mongoose Villain, and that cracked within a couple years, and the Specialized came out. Got into the Specialized, crazy looking bikes, and started hitting the tracks up here and there just for fun, and then we found some woods and started building jumps in this crazy woods area. So being a kid, I guess.
Yeah, no, I remember doing a lot of that, like stacking stuff and finding spare wood, just trying to jump like makeshift ramps and stuff. Oh yeah. So I had a Royce Union BMX bike. It was all chrome. Like, got it for my birthday one year, and it got stolen. It was like literally I left it outside one time on the back porch, and we lived in these apartments. And somebody took it, and they left this like undersized mountain bike out there. And I was like, they just trade me somebody else's bike. They probably stole that and then came and stole mine. Yeah. And then I ended up getting a Dyno Zone, and then started doing a little bit of riding at Delco, and made some poor choices a couple times, crashed, But yeah, that BMX at that point was like yo-yos in elementary school, you know what I mean? Like, that was huge too. So getting into your high school years and that kind of stuff, what kind of hobbies and stuff were you doing in school? What kind of stuff?
Junior high, that's when I started getting into riding dirt bikes and everything, and me and school just didn't get along, so I decided to part ways from school and do homeschooling for a little while, and that was a little better, but then someone showed me money, and money talks, so I decided just to drop out and go get a job and make money.
So what was like your first job?
Framing.
Yeah.
I did that for a week, and I said, this is not for me.
So where did that transpire? Like, have you had a lot of jobs? Have you had a few jobs? Like, what are the
After the framing, my one buddy came along, and he was working for Lowe's and Home Depot, kind of, sort of, doing carpet. So started doing carpet and did that for about 13 years.
Yeah. I just had a bunch of this stuff done, man. I should have called you and been like, dude, I need the inside scoop on finding people like carpet. But
it's definitely a little trade art, especially folding and seaming and stapling it and making it where you cannot see anything and try to blend it all in.
Yeah. The guys that did our house they did a phenomenal job. They definitely knew what they were doing. So leading into like, what do you do today?
Well, today I got my own little kind of my own business. I'm a handyman, but I get my line of work from my one friend. So I just redo apartments and rehab, whatever, but I'm a handyman, and if I don't know how to do it, I can at least point you in the right direction to get the good enough help, and hopefully you'll like those people if you do the work for you.
Nice, man. Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of pride in working for yourself and being able to make your own schedule and kind of do whatever you want. That's awesome, man. Is that something that you see yourself doing from like here on out, like kind of just continuing that? Do you want to expand? You got like any goals or anything like that that you want to work towards?
I'm pretty much kind of happy where I'm at because I can go and come as I please, and
Yeah,
if I don't want to work for a month, I can just say, hey, I don't want to work for a month.
yeah, that's awesome, man. One of those ice cubes just cracked a little bit, got a little splash. That was crazy. So when you're not working, I mean, obviously you like to off-road and do that kind of stuff, but what are some other hobbies that you have? I know obviously dirt biking and you like to off-road quite a bit. Is there any other stuff that you like to get out and do?
Every now and then I get the little RC rock crawler out. Every now and then. I'm not as big as other people, but it's something to do on a rainy day or even a snowy, cold day.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, there's quite a few people in the group that like to do that, and my wife really likes miniature things, so I think as a segue to try to get her more into off-roading, I might go that route, try to get her a little SUV, make it like her RAV4, and just kind of make a little rig for her, but
Got to start her somewhere.
yeah, for sure. So when we talk about like those other things that you do and having ridden dirt bikes and getting into off-roading, did it start with this Toyota, or were you like off-roading trucks and stuff before that?
Well, riding dirt bikes and everything, you get to see it all and be a part of it all the craziness. So I kept seeing all the lifted Chevys and everything, and all of a sudden my one buddy that used to got us into dirt bike riding, he came along with a 88 Toyota pickup all lifted, and I said, you know what, that's me right there. And then he just sold me the truck for $1,500 back in the day, and I stuck 33s on it, and that's where it all came about.
Yeah. So where did you make the jump then from that into Toyotas? Like, is this your first Toyota, or have you had other Toyotas?
This is my third one.
Okay, sure. So were they all similar like this?
And I'll say that 88 was probably the most stocked and everything. Then once I figured out that I can do a straight axle and everything, I bought a 91 two-wheel drive lowrider. And I said, oh, I can't go dirt bike riding, camping in this thing. So we cut the front end off and stuck a straight axle on it. And then I put 36-inch tires on it. And then I did the crawl box. So I had 15 forward gears and 5 reverse gears. So that's when all hell broke loose.
Dang, dude. Yeah. You went in deep. Like, right there, you jumped full in. A lot of people have seen Doug and have seen his truck and have gone through some different stages, different tires. We do rig walk around, so check out that playlist as well. It's got the walk around video, and we'll talk a lot about the modifications and stuff here on your truck. You got a nickname for your truck at all?
Just Taco.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I know, obviously a lot of people know my truck is Judy, but some people do that, some people don't, so...
well, that name fits perfect because it's big.
Yeah, it is. So I'm excited to kind of go a different route and start working on my other project and stuff, but what is your current project? So let's talk a little bit about the other part of you, right? So somebody else joins us quite a bit on the trails, and now they have a project of their own. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, the girlfriend, Nikki, we got her a truck, same color, same year as mine, and she's wanting to do 35s and all the fun stuff to it too. So you'll see it from being stock to this thing in the next couple months, hopefully.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Now, when you guys are out on the trails, because she comes pretty much every time we're out there, and Nikki's with you, is she driving out there too, or are you?
She does a little driving here and there just because the seat is still stock. Her seat sits up 1.5 inches to give her a little room to see over.
It's got like the seat jackers in there, yeah.
So, other than that, she doesn't care to sit passenger, take videos of everyone.
Yeah.
Whatever, but she drives every now and then, but she just doesn't like to because it's not her vehicle, which I understand that.
Yeah. Is she really looking forward to coming out and actually hitting trails and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Something she's been talking about here lately is like, oh, I don't know what kind of wheels I want. Do I want these? Do I want that? Do I want this? I'm like, you just pick out what you kind of want, and I'll just get it. I don't care.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. So, it's fun going through that process though, and kind of like customizing it. That's where a lot of my love is for the vehicles. Is like I don't think I could buy something and keep it stock. You know what I'm saying? Like even like I'm adding stickers or something. Like the first day I get it, but it's hard not to customize something, in my opinion. So that's all part of it. It's like tattoos on your body and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know about tattoos. I got like models.
Yeah. So
I say the fun part though is just when it's your truck and you get to cut it, you just watch other people's reaction. Like you're cutting your truck, like
yeah. It was. I remember having Andy Ross cut mine actually. So when we put in my rear bumper, he had already kind of done something similar on his truck, and he cut part of the bedside and stuff. And I was like, man, can you just do that part for me? I don't feel that comfortable doing it. So shout out to Andy. Appreciate you doing that. What kind of stuff, as far as Dotore goes, are some of your favorite memories of us being out on the trails, or doing stuff for the community, or whatever that looked like?
The one time when we all met up at our little winter event at Haspin, when Watto got stuck, no one knew how to get to him, so I just manned up and said, I'll go over this big crazy stuff and pull him out and everything. So that was pretty cool. And it wasn't really a detour. I always say Dotore. I get it confused sometimes. But me and Waldo was down at the gorge, and he broke a front axle, and I had to pull him out of Walker's Creek, and that was a fun adventure. Didn't get home till like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I remember that ride. And I think he also did it. Is that the same time he did it?
Yeah, that's when me and Sheldon had to pull him up Walker's Creek, and we gave them
around that turn before. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I haven't done that in that direction, but I've come down and made that turn. And wheelbase on the Tundra is obviously a little bit longer, and it's not the easiest thing to maneuver out there. But
that trail's definitely gotten more crazier now.
Yeah,
like some of the stepping stones are probably every bit of 4 foot tall now.
Yeah, there was a log down right at the bottom of coming down that big portion of that hill, and I got stuck on that log, and I couldn't get over it because it was soaked. It was
I remember that.
And so we just hooked a winch up, pulled the log out of the way, and then I drove right through it. But yeah, that's a fun trail, man. Going through all of that foliage and stuff, you feel like you're
in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, seriously, or like in the Amazon. So like it just feels so much different.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to believe that you're just in Kentucky. So, what kind of stuff do you look forward to doing with Dotore? Like, where do you want to see the group kind of go? How do you want to expand all this?
I think everything's going pretty good and pretty smooth so far. I mean, as long as we just get more new people out there to push their limits a little bit. I mean, it's only a little scratch here and there. I mean, what? It's just a scratch.
Yeah.
I get it, though. It's a scratch. Most people won't like it, but...
Yeah, in the beginning days, I was definitely like that. Like, we'd be out at Haspin, and I'd be hopping out with hedge trimmers and, like, clipping stuff. And, like, on one of the trips we went down to Kentucky, like, one of my first times in the gorge, it was like, you can't do that. You just got to go. You know what I mean? And the initial couple times that you do it is very nerve-wracking. Even now, like, sometimes the thorn to the paint, you're like, oh, dude, that sounds terrible or something. But... most of that stuff really does just kind of buff out too. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds terrible at the time, but it's crazy how durable paint really is.
Oh, yes.
And we're fortunate because we have a couple of really good detailers and stuff in our group too. So, so you've had the Tacoma. You're building a Tacoma. Any other big projects or anything that you're working on?
No, just trying to save some money up so maybe I can get an RV, make it a little easier to pull this thing down, or maybe even pull the 91 here in the future, because I'm thinking about bringing the 91 back out.
Okay. So...
It looks like Jeremy's truck in a way.
Okay.
But blue and red.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't even think I've seen that, to be honest. So
It's a sleeper. I'm been keeping it quiet.
Okay. Cool. That's exciting. Fuel us. Will leave us in suspense here a little bit. Yeah. So, what kind of, if you were gonna just kind of take a day off and like money wasn't a factor or whatever, and you're gonna grab the kids and Nikki, you guys are gonna go somewhere, right? What is your like ideal vacation kind of look like? Whether it's by vehicle or if you're flying somewhere, like what would you do if nothing mattered and you were just like, I'm gonna go?
Well, we've been talking about doing a cruise because I've been hearing a couple people talking about cruises and
Yeah.
everything, and ever since down in the gorge in May last year, we seen the Northern Lights down there, and that just kind of kicked me in the butt. Said, let's go to Alaska. I
Yeah.
want to get on a cruise ship, and I want to see something different. I want to do something different for once, and
Okay.
just check that off the bucket list.
Yeah. We've talked about a couple times.
You went up there, I think. Yeah. You went there.
A few years back, everybody else went to Windrock, and I went to Alaska. So we flew in, did a cruise. It was a great experience. Me and my wife were just actually talking about this. We were watching a show and seeing glaciers and stuff, and recalling how amazing that was when we were out there. So we should probably do like a Dotore cruise. I mean, there's so many people that want to go to Alaska. We should probably set something up. Have you ever been on a cruise at all before?
Nope.
Okay. So
never been on an airplane, and only been down to Florida, and that's about it. And South Carolina. I ain't been nowhere else. So it's time to start some new adventures here.
Yeah, man, for sure. But you've done a lot of off-road adventures. You've been a lot of places. So let's talk a little bit about that. What off-road parks have you been to? Obviously, we've been to the Gorge a lot, Red River Gorge and Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway. You do a lot of stuff with our group, with Kentucky Land Cruiser Association. What parks and stuff have you been to, and what is your favorite place that you have off-roaded?
Well, been to Aspen. That was fun back in the day, but now that's more of a hell place, I would say.
Yeah.
Because you're never safe there.
Yeah, that's more appropriate, too, for, like, dirt bikes and stuff, right? Yeah.
And more of a trail rig if you ain't worried about the mud holes there or unforgettable, because you never know if it's a foot deep or 8 feet deep. And I seen it happen to one of my buddies riding a dirt bike, and he went through it, and the whole front disappeared.
Jeez, man.
But other than Aspen, been to Windrock a few times before I had the truck. I was down there dirt bike riding a couple. Hollywood's fun in trucks or bikes. But been to Wildcat a lot. That place is pretty cool, so I can't wait for the group to go down there. And
yeah, we got a trip coming up in a couple months here, so super excited for that. We have Recovery Day coming up. Here in a couple of weeks. We've got a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
So Off-Road Expo coming up this weekend. A few of us have our rigs in that. So if you're watching us before then, come out to the Off-Road Expo, say what's up. And then Recovery Day, and then Wildcat, and then we have Windrock later this summer. And then we'll have another fall ride in the Gorge. So a lot of crazy stuff coming up. Hollerwood, so I've only been to Hollerwood one time. And it was a pretty tough ride. I think I was with you, actually. I think it was the same ride that we did Walker Creek, and it was on a Kentucky Land Cruiser ride. We were on the cleanup ride or something like that.
I was actually down in Tennessee that weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just remember coming up this giant hill, it being kind of a blind, like you're to the point where the incline you can't see over the hood, you can't really see anything in front of you, and it comes to a T, so you come right up at the top of this hill, and you immediately have to go right or left. And we had to go right, and there's a bit of a rock garden and stuff there, and this was a little bit earlier in the Tundra's outfitting and stuff, and it didn't quite look like it does now, but I remember it being a pretty tough thing. And John, which was on here our last episode, that was one of the first times that he had been off-roading. So
He
he hopped in with me for that actual trail ride, and he the whole time is like, dude, and I'm like, no, it's cool, man, we're good. So it kind of fueled, I think, some energy and stuff for him making that jump to want to go out and actually have fun on the trails. But what else? Where else have we been?
Before they closed it down, there used to be a Livingston 909. That's right across the street from Wildcat down in Kentucky, and that was a free place to go riding. And it was definitely more crazier than Windrock.
Yeah, do you think part of the reason for it shutting down may have been because it was free? Like,
it was free, and then family issues between the loggers and land disputing and everything. So they just closed it down. And then I heard that it was because of people just stealing cars and trucks and going there and blowing them up and putting them in the rivers and everything.
Yeah.
Just a lot of deaths down there because people, like you said, we don't drink on the trails, so we only drink when we get back to camp.
Yeah.
But places like that and Wildcat, you're allowed to drink and ride.
Yeah.
Up to your own risk.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know, like, at Windrock, they won't even let you bring a cooler and stuff. They'll, like, check your coolers and stuff to make sure there's
because the last time we was there, I think 3 out of the 6 people that we was with got stopped and checked their coolers.
Yeah. And that's, like, that's the reason that we, like, kind of prepare you guys before these rides and kind of go over all the details about, you know, what we're going to do on these rides, because there's a lot of stuff going into it. You know, when we got 30, 40 people at Windrock and we're all sitting in a line creeping up this giant hill just trying to get, you know, everybody through the checkpoint before even getting to the trails, like, there's a lot of orchestration even in those scenarios. So have you been to Hatfield McCoy's?
No, I always wanted to, and then they changed the rules where you can't do night riding no more. Because I always wanted to go there on a dirt bike because they had really good single tracks. And the single tracks are mild to extremely wild. Like you'd be literally on the side of a cliff looking over a 2,000-foot drop, and the track's only a foot wide or so.
Jeez, man. That is, holy crap, that's sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. So out of all the places that you've trail ride, what is your favorite place to go that we've been?
I still say the gorge just because you can never run the same trail almost. If you go down there every weekend, you won't hit the same trail almost at all.
Yeah.
And you get to help out the community down there too and keep the trails open.
Yeah,
for future generations too.
That's super extensive in what they've done down there, and they just did another big extension. So again, shout out to them. They were just had a segment that they were featured in for Outside Magazine. Speaking of the gorge, they are going through some havoc and stuff right now too. So really bad flooding as of today and tomorrow. They're under winter weather advisories, and they're supposed to get dumped on some snow. So they have a link, which I'll try to put in the description here. So if you want to donate or anything like that, it all goes to the community. We are not affiliated with it at all, but I'll drop that down there. That way you can learn more information, and if you're able to, and kind of helping out the community. That's something that we're big on here through our group. You know, we like to help out as much as we can. So, as far as like off-roading and stuff goes, are there places that you have on like your bucket list that you want to go out and like trails that you want to do?
Like Moab, that'd be so killer just to go out and do one time, or
yeah,
just even go out there and fly and find someone willing to let me sit in the passenger seat or even the back of the truck just to even watch. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, it's crazy now because obviously with social media, you see all these reels and stuff, and you see all these people out there on like 40s and bigger tires and climbing all over stuff, and it is wild to see it. But when you get there in person, you're like, oh wow, that is way bigger than I thought. You know, I have not been, so I would love to go out there as well. I've been out west to similar places, but never done any like off-roading or anything like that. The extent of the off-roading that I've done out west was in Colorado. My mom had a work trip, like she had some training and stuff that she had to do, and that's where it was at. So we kind of like made it a family trip. My dad's a truck driver and was like, "Yeah, we're driving to Colorado." So we rented a car. It was a Dodge Intrepid. And I remember we were going up Pikes Peak and stuff, and my dad, being the adventurer he was, kept pulling off of these side trails. He's like, "I wonder where this goes," you know? And we would get to sections where, like there's boulders, and I say boulders, I mean like basketball-sized rocks, you know, not like a boulder, but in a Dodge Intrepid, like that is impassable, you know what I'm saying? You can't drive over that stuff. So we would like go as far as we can, and we're all bouncing around, you know, me and my sister in the back seat, like, but yeah, it's awesome. Like, you never know about some of those places you go, and being on public lands and stuff out there, it's a lot different than it is like when we're in the gorge, because you know, being on the backcountry byway and stuff, a lot of those scenarios to the right and left of you is all private property, you know.
Yeah,
so
we ran into one of those incidents, and we accidentally thought we was on the right trail, and I guess someone made the map wrong, and yeah, we went through someone's property, and they ended up chasing quite a few of us down just to yell at us, but they was really cool and understandable though, so just got to know how to talk to them. So,
and that, I think it's important that, you know, that's another reason we're not getting trashed out on the trails, and you know, because then you're causing more problems and altercations and things like that. You know, stuff like that does happen, and you don't mean for it to happen, but like you said, sometimes people are understanding, sometimes they're angry, they're not too happy that you're there. So, you know, just trying to be cautious of that and being respectful.
But when you see that sign that says "you are being recorded," that means you are being recorded back in the middle of the woods. So
yeah, for sure.
There's eyes everywhere now.
And a lot of times, even there's not a sign, and you still are. So just think about stuff like that when we're out there. And again, that's the importance of, you know, kind of sticking to the regulations and stuff that are there to keep that community building, and, you know, not putting a lot of feedback, negative feedback, I guess, on the off-road community, because there already is a lot of that, and we don't need any more. And I think that's one thing that Dotore is really good at, is kind of respecting that land, and, you know, respecting each other even when we're out on the rides. You know, there's been a lot of scenarios where we've gone to people's birthday parties, or, you know, gone to just baby showers or whatever it might be, but there's been a lot of those situations, and we're a really tight-knit group. We're a lot about the community and not necessarily always about having the flashiest and coolest stuff. So, although there's a lot of cool stuff with the group. So, so are there different variations of your truck that you've had that you wish that you would have maybe kept? Or something that you've done to the vehicle that you were like, "Damn it, I wish I would have done this instead"?
No, just trial and error, and if I don't like it, just have to stick with it for a little bit until you find the next best thing. But if not, just work what you got.
Yeah.
It'll get the job done.
What advice do you have for anybody starting out and getting into this? So, if they're watching this video and they just bought a second gen Tacoma, what advice do you have for them? Say they want to go out and get involved in starting doing some trail rides and stuff, but they don't necessarily want to be out on Old Fincastle and, you know, spots like that.
I say the most important thing is skid plates, rock sliders, and you'll be good that way for a little while until you get some bumpers and a winch. Because if you don't never go out by yourself, you always got to have a teammate or a few people with you, because you never know what can happen. Like on our last little fall ride, we went out and I ended up having to pull someone out of the woods almost a mile.
Yeah. That was a sticky situation.
Yeah.
And your guys' crew did a phenomenal job. You, Jeremy,
Mark.
Yeah, that's a great thing about like our rides too, is, having a knowledgeable group of people there, being able to address situations like that and kind of get them taken care of. So, fortunately, nobody was hurt, and we've had a few scenarios where vehicles have been damaged, and whether that was on the actual ride or if it was a side voyage or something, we always kind of come together to be able to help out those situations and offer advice or knowledge or tools or whatever that might be. So.
Because I mean, if we're all out on the trail, no matter if you're a Jeep, I hate to say it, but we're all an off-road community. We all have to stick together. I mean, we all have our little differences and bicker back and forth between Toyota and Jeep, but that's everywhere, though.
Yeah.
Man. You gotta have some fun with some people.
Yeah, for sure. And as a lot of people know, like many people that are in this group started out with Jeeps and made the jump to Toyota. So myself included, I had an XJ before this, and it was very short-lived, just a couple months. But that was kind of, I didn't even actually off-road it, but that was kind of where I wanted to start getting into this. So
Got to get your feet wet somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, there's a lot more aftermarket support, a lot more stuff for Jeeps than there are Tacomas and or Toyotas rather. But there's a lot of companies out there that are pushing more towards that. And now you can pretty much find aftermarket parts for any of the models. So. Except for second gen Tacoma or second gen 4Runners, there's not a whole lot of stuff out there for those. I'm learning that as I'm starting to kind of work on this project that I'm doing. But
yeah, that was the way they designed that one. Makes you have to make more parts versus going out and just buying and bolting it on, which is more funner if you think about it. Because if you don't like the way it looks this way, you're like, I'll just cut it off and redesign it, make my own way.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of cutting in my future for that project. So, before we end this here, we're kind of getting close towards the end and everything, but if we were to say your absolute favorite memory from Dotore, I know we talked about Walker Creek, we talked about all that stuff, your first time to Haspin with everybody, is one of those your favorite, or is there something else that stands out that you would say is like takes the cake for everything?
There's really never a dull moment in the Dotore group, so all good memories and never a dull moment with us. What
is your favorite thing about the group as a whole? Again, for the new people that are kind of getting into this and they're watching, but they haven't come out to any events or anything like that, what would you say to them?
Get off your butt and come out and have some fun with us.
Yeah.
We ain't that scary.
Yeah.
I may push you a little bit if you want to come out on the trails. I'll push you to the limits, but you won't get hurt, and I won't damage your vehicle. You may damage it, but I won't damage it. But that's all good memories because everything gets buffed out.
Yeah. Well, for anybody coming out for the first time, probably not going with you anyways. They know your rides are a little more aggressive for sure. So
but if no one else wants to go out, I'll do the easy stuff just to show you guys the fun stuff and whatever. So we still got to get you started off somewhere. Like I said, I'll still push you to the limits. Even on the easy stuff, I know some of the little off-camber spots and everything just push your limits a little bit. So you have some fun.
For sure. So we've talked a lot about kind of the entire process here of you growing up, some of the sports and stuff that you've done as far as motocross, BMXing, like that kind of stuff. Are there any hobbies that you don't have? And I like this question because it takes a lot to get into certain things. You know what I mean? Like sometimes starting a new hobby is pretty intimidating. But are there any hobbies that you kind of wish you had that you don't have? Things that interest you that you haven't done?
I would say probably get a couple more guns. I ain't really had too many guns, and I keep hearing people talking about handguns and everything. I'm like, maybe I think it is time to step up and get a couple extra little toys, maybe just to defend myself in something.
Yeah. Guns are like tattoos, man. It's like
Yeah.
you get one, you're like, oh, yeah, that's fun. What's this one look like? Yeah, let's get this one. That's cool. Because they're the same way. Like for me, anyways. Like I can't just buy a gun and not do anything to it. Like
Yeah.
I have to customize it a little bit. And
That's like when we was out camping the one day and someone opens their book bag up and says, "Hey, check out this new one." They unfolded it and everything. I'm like, how much did you pay for that?
yeah, pretty cool how like the technology of all that too is really neat. The evolution of a lot of the firearms and stuff that they're making now is pretty cool stuff. So, but not to mention the amount of customizing options that you have for those, whether it's like different Cerakoting or painting of it.
Yeah. The wraps now and everything.
Yeah.
It's just
Hydro
getting out of
dipping
hand.
stuff and different sites and different just everything. It's so cool that you can do all of that. So well, I appreciate you being part of the group. Again, you've done a lot for the group, and that's definitely stuff that doesn't go unnoticed, and we're excited to make a lot more memories with you. I always tell people, you never know, you might just meet your next best friend.
And he ain't joking. We became really good friends, and
Yeah.
I made you come to Windrock and whatever, and didn't make you pay for the night at the cabin, whatever. So
Yeah.
gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So that's really what it's all about here with us is the friendship and the relationships, the camaraderie, all that stuff that is built through the group.
We're more family.
Yeah, the memories that we make aren't always out on the trails. It might be during a kayak trip, or it might be during a backyard barbecue, or 4th of July parade, or whatever it might be. But it's always an adventure. Let's put it that way. So until next time, guys, let's go places.